Welcome back to The Clean Truth by Ruby.
Hey everyone, it is so great to be here.
We are so glad you could join us today for our 40th episode titled No Scrubbing Required, the effortless way to clean your air fryer drawer.
Which is, such a necessary topic.
Well, absolutely. Because, air fryers are basically these modern miracles, right? They transform unglamorous, boring foods like plain old potatoes or sad raw Brussels sprouts into these crispy, caramelized dinnertime heroes.
Oh yeah, in like 15 minutes flat.
Exactly. But dealing with the greasy, sticky drawer afterward is a total nightmare.
It really is. It's the worst part.
It is. So today, our goal is to rescue you from the info overload out there and just the sheer scrubbing fatigue that comes with owning one. We're pulling from this fantastic piece in Real Simple by lifestyle reporter Wendy Rose Gould, along with some really great insights from professional cleaning experts.
Yeah, we are going to figure out how to reclaim your kitchen sanity today.
Let's break down how to tackle that greasy air fryer drawer without turning cleanup into another workout.
I love that because honestly, before we can even talk about cleaning it effortlessly, we have to look at the anatomy of the mess itself.
Right.
We have to understand why this specific appliance gets so uniquely, stubbornly filthy compared to, say, a regular oven or a pan on the stovetop.
Well, see, that's the part that always gets me.
Yes.
Because the central promise of the air fryer is minimal oil usage. You toss those Brussels sprouts in maybe a teaspoon or two of oil, right?
Barely anything.
So if I am putting barely any fat on my food, the inside of this machine shouldn't be coated in a thick film of grease. Yet you pull the basket out, and it looks like the aftermath of a miniature grease tornado.
A miniature grease tornado.
It does. The walls, the grated bottom, the heating element, and it's just uniformly coated. How does that happen?
That phrase actually captures the physics of it perfectly. So in the source material, Rochelle Wilkinson, she's a cleaning expert, she points out that the defining feature of the air fryer is rapid circulation.
Like the fan inside.
Exactly. It's pushing high heat within a heavily confined space. So we are talking about a convection fan spinning incredibly fast right above your food.
So it's basically like having this high-powered turbine stuffed into a tiny metal box.
Yeah, pretty much. And when the moisture inside your food heats up, it turns into steam.
Okay, makes sense.
And that steam releases into the confined chamber. But because of those turbulent air currents from the fan, the steam actually acts as a vehicle.
Wait, a vehicle for the oil?
Yes. It picks up that tiny teaspoon of oil, along with any savory dressings or fat rendering off your meat, and it aerosolizes it.
Oh, wow. So the oil is effectively turned into a fine mist.
Exactly. It doesn't just sit on the bottom of the pan like it would in a regular skillet. The fan blows these microscopic grease droplets into literally every single crevice of the machine.
Right, the walls, those little tracks the drawer slides on.
The undercarriage of the basket. It coats the entire inside of the fryer with this ultra-thin layer of liquid fat.
Which, honestly, wouldn't be a massive problem if it just stayed as a liquid. Like, you could just wipe it out with a paper towel and be done with it.
You'd think so, yeah.
But when you go to clean an air fryer drawer that had been sitting for a while, it doesn't feel slippery. It feels tacky, like the residue left behind by a sticker. It feels like glue.
And that is exactly where the chemistry of cooking turns against us. It all comes down to a process called polymerization.
Polymerization. Okay, that sounds intense.
It kind of is. Extra oil, high heat, and long cook times create this perfect chemical storm. You see, cooking oils are made of triglycerides, which have these fatty acid chains.
Okay, I'm with you.
When subjected to the intense circulating heat of the air fryer over and over, the chemical bonds in those fatty acids actually break and then reform. They cross-link with one another.
So instead of remaining as, individual slippery liquid molecules, the heat forces them to hold hands and bond together.
Yes, beautifully put. They form this microscopic plastic net over the entire basket. The oil literally changes its molecular structure from a liquid fat into a synthetic polymer.
Wait, really? So we are accidentally manufacturing a layer of plastic right inside the cooking drawer?
Basically, yeah. You are baking a synthetic resin onto the walls of your appliance.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It is. And letting the drawer sit and cool down on the counter while you eat dinner.
Which we all do.
Right, we all do it. But that allows that newly formed polymer net to harden. And if this residue isn't cleaned completely before the next use, the problem compounds.
Because the next time you turn it on, you're aerosolizing a fresh layer of oil over the old net.
Exactly. And then you bake that new layer into plastic too.
Oh my gosh. So you end up creating these geological layers of sticky grease.
Yeah, that become impossibly difficult to remove, which really highlights the danger of waiting.
So if you are the kind of person who finishes cooking, plates the food, and just shoves the greasy door back into the machine to deal with later, you are actively participating in this polymerization process.
You are setting yourself up for an incredibly frustrating cleaning experience, that's for sure.
Okay, so now that we know we are dealing with aerosolized, polymerized grease layers and not just wet oil, how do we break that net? Because I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
my immediate visceral instinct when I see a really tough baked-on mess is to grab something abrasive.
Oh, no.
I know. But I just want to grab a magic eraser or a pad of steel wool, roll up my sleeves, and just scrub it until it's gone.
I get the impulse. I really do. It feels like you're taking decisive action.
Hmm.
But looking at the maintenance protocols in our sources, doing that is a fatal error for an air fryer.
Really? Why is it so bad?
Well, physical friction is the absolute worst approach here. Using harsh scrubbers like steel wool or, a magic eraser, which is essentially just micro sandpaper, it will violently strip away the nonstick coating inside the drawer.
Right, because most of these baskets are coated in PTFE, like Teflon,
Yeah.
or a ceramic alternative.
Exactly. Those coatings are designed to be frictionless, but they're also relatively soft. Once that coating is scratched, you lose the nonstick properties forever.
Which defeats the whole purpose of the appliance.
Completely. But it's actually worse than that. You are actively creating microscopic valleys and jagged edges in the metal when you scratch it.
Oh, so you're essentially installing Velcro for the grease.
Yes. By scratching the surface, you give the aerosolized oil and food particles deeper crevices to grip onto during the next cook.
Meaning you're just guaranteeing that every future cleanup will be harder than the last.
Exactly. Now, checking your specific appliance manufacturer's cleaning instructions is critical before you do anything. But abrasives are universally recognized as a massive red flag.
Because you simply cannot scrape off a plasticized oil net without scraping off the nonstick coating underneath it.
You just can't.
Okay, so if physical friction destroys the coating and we can't scrape it off, we have to dissolve it chemically. But how do we do that without using harsh industrial toxins in the same place we prepare our food?
That's the magic question. And Wendy Rose Gould's fail-proof method in that real simple article relies on what she calls bringing in the big dogs for caked-on grease.
The big dogs, I like that. What are they?
It's just 4 very accessible things: boiled water, degreasing dish soap, baking soda, and thyme.
That's it. That sounds too easy.
It is brilliant because it's letting basic chemistry do the heavy lifting rather than your biceps. So the thermodynamics are the first step. You boil a pot of water.
And it has to be actively boiling, right? Not just warm tap water.
Right, actively boiling.
Because heat is what baked those polymer bonds together in the first place, so you need a massive influx of thermal energy to soften that hardened structure.
Exactly. You pour that boiling water directly into the base of the dirty air fryer drawer, add a generous squirt of degreasing dish soap, and then sprinkle in some baking soda.
And then just mix it up gently.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming the baking soda isn't just there to provide a mild abrasive texture, right?
Well, not at all. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, which is highly alkaline.
And food grease and those oil polymers tend to be slightly acidic.
Exactly. So when we introduce a strong alkaline powder to that acidic, stubborn grease in a hot water bath, we trigger a mild saponification process.
Saponification. So the baking soda acts as like a pair of chemical scissors.
Yes, actively cutting the bonds of that plastic net and converting the fatty acids into a crude form of water-soluble soap. You are basically turning the grease against itself.
That is fascinating.
Right. The alkaline bath cuts through the sticky polymers while the surfactants in the dish soap surround those newly freed grease molecules and lift them away from the surface.
Okay, but for this chemical reaction to actually work, there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. You have to execute the most crucial step. You have to walk away.
The 30-minute soak.
The 30-minute soak. You let it sit until the water cools down enough to handle safely, which takes about half an hour.
Because the solution needs that dwell time to actively loosen the grime.
Exactly. And when you return, that polymer net is completely broken. All you need to do is gently wipe the surface with a soft sponge or a standard dish brush.
So no excessive elbow grease required.
None. The grime should slide right off, and then you just rinse the drawer thoroughly and dry it.
Okay, but you know what people might be thinking right now?
What's that?
What if you go through this entire soaking process, you pour out the murky water, the major chunks are gone, but there is still this thin, tacky film left on the plastic trim or the outer edges.
Ah, yes. Claudia Meneses, the CEO of Avanti Green Eco Cleaning, actually provides a brilliant pro tip for this exact scenario. She suggests bringing white vinegar into the mix.
Which introduces a really interesting contradiction, if you think about it.
How so?
Well, we just used alkaline baking soda to cut the structural polymers. Why are we suddenly switching to a highly acidic substance like vinegar?
That is a great question. The baking soda was necessary to break the hardened baked-on bonds inside the high heat chamber. But that tacky film that lingers on the edges or the handle, that is often unpolymerized surface oil mixed with lingering soap residue.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and white vinegar contains acetic acid. While it won't break a baked-on polymer net, it is incredibly effective at cutting through those unsaponified leftover liquid lipids.
And mineral deposits too, right?
Yeah.
Leaving a streak-free finish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the application technique is vital here.
You spray the white vinegar onto a microfiber cloth.
Right.
You never spray it directly into the machine.
Never. Spraying directly into the housing risks liquid seeping into the electrical components, the fan motor, or the heating element.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin the whole appliance just trying to clean the handle.
Exactly. The microfiber cloth acts as the carrier for the acid. You just wipe away that final layer of grease.
So this DIY method works incredibly well.
Yeah.
But honestly,
Yeah.
measuring out the correct ratio of baking soda, finding the right degreasing soap, boiling the water, playing kitchen chemist every single night, it still introduces friction into the evening routine.
It does take some active effort to set it all up.
And the whole principle of letting chemistry work for you is what makes modern appliance maintenance sustainable. Think about doing laundry, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you had to take your clothes down to a river with a washboard and physically scrub the dirt out of the fibers for an hour, you would avoid doing laundry at all costs.
Oh, absolutely. I would literally never do it.
Right. Instead, we load a washing machine, add detergent, and let the soak and spin cycles handle the physical labor. We accept that automation and chemical assistance are standard for our clothes.
But we stubbornly believe we have to go to war with our specialized kitchen gadgets using sheer physical force.
Exactly. And that is exactly why Ruby designed the air fryer drawer cleaning sachet.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. It prepackages that exact alkaline to degreaser ratio we just discussed. It takes the entire philosophy, the thermal breakdown, the degreasing action, the alkaline chemical scissors, and condenses it into a single frictionless step.
So you just drop it in.
You drop the sachet in, add the hot water, and let the specialized formula break down the food residue and grease polymers. You skip the intensive scrubbing phase entirely because the sachet is engineered to do the heavy lifting for you.
I love that because removing that friction changes the behavioral psychology around kitchen chores completely.
How do you mean?
Well, why do we procrastinate on cleaning the air fryer? We put it off because we associate the task with a high cost of physical energy and time. We dread the scrubbing.
We really do.
But when a chore takes less time and requires drastically less physical effort, like simply dropping in a sachet and adding water, you are far more likely to do it consistently.
Which perfectly aligns with Wendy Rose Gould's observation in the Real Simple article. The easiest mess to clean is the one that doesn't exist in the first place.
Exactly. Building a frictionless cleaning habit prevents those geological layers of grease from forming.
And the source material provides several fantastic preventative hacks to keep the initial mess to an absolute minimum, too.
They do. The first, and honestly most critical hack, is to wash the drawer after every single use.
I know that sounds mundane, but remember the mechanics of polymerization we talked about?
Right. If you use the air fryer a second time without cleaning it, you are baking yesterday's grease under today's heat.
Creating that impossible plastic net. So a quick, effortless chemical soak every time prevents the massive, difficult, deep clean down the road.
The article also advocates for controlling the mess before it even touches the metal.
Oh, by using inserts.
Yes, paper liners. You place them in the bottom of the basket before you add the food, and they absorb a massive amount of the excess grease and rendered animal fats.
And when dinner is done, you literally just toss the paper liner in the trash, leaving only a minor residue on the basket itself.
It's so easy. And controlling the source of the grease is just as important. The more oil you pour directly into the basket, the more oil gets aerosolized by the convection fan.
So what's a better way to do it?
A superior technique is to toss your food in a separate mixing bowl first. Give it a light drizzle of oil, ensure it is evenly coated, and then transfer the food to the air fryer.
So you achieve the crispy texture without introducing free-flowing oil into the wind tunnel of the appliance.
Exactly. And honestly, the type of oil you choose for that light coating plays a massive role in how difficult the cleanup will be later.
Right, because olive oil is sort of the default for most home cooks, but it actually presents a major chemical disadvantage in an air fryer.
It really does. Olive oil has a relatively low smoke point. So in a high heat, high circulation environment, it degrades rapidly.
It smokes and burns.
Yeah, and it accelerates that polymerization process into a sticky buildup much faster than other fats.
So the article recommends swapping olive oil for an alternative with a higher smoke point.
Specifically, they highlight spray-on avocado oil.
You could think of the difference in smoke points like the difference between holding a match to a piece of paper versus holding it to a thick candle.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. The paper, like the olive oil, instantly catches fire, burns, and leaves behind a scorched, carbonized mess. But the candle, like the avocado oil, is designed to withstand the heat. It just melts and does its job without scorching.
Avocado oil handles those intense 400-degree convection currents beautifully. It results in a tastier dish and significantly less sticky burned-on plastic to dissolve later.
Just by switching your cooking oil, you are actively re-engineering your post-dinner cleanup.
It's such a small change with a huge payoff.
It really is. So let's quickly recap the chemistry and strategy we have covered in this deep dive.
Sounds good.
First, respect the miniature grease tornado. High heat and rapid air circulation will aerosolize oil into every corner of the drawer, and leaving it there allows it to polymerize into a microscopic plastic net.
Yep, don't let it sit.
Second, drop the harsh scrubbers. Step away from the steel wool and the magic erasers. You are only scratching the non-stick coating and creating Velcro for future grease.
Please step away from the steel wool.
Third, embrace the chemical soak. Whether you are using the boiling water and alkaline baking soda method or streamlining the whole process by dropping in a ruby cleaning sachet, let the thermodynamics and the pH scale do the hard work for you.
Let the chemistry do the lifting.
And finally, build preventative habits. Wash the basket every time, utilize those paper liners to catch rendered fat, toss your food in a separate bowl first, and upgrade to a high smoke point avocado oil to prevent burning.
It is just a comprehensive strategy that shifts the entire burden of cleaning from physical labor to chemical intelligence.
I love that. Chemical intelligence.
And the value of this approach goes far beyond just, maintaining a shiny appliance or protecting the fragile PTFE coating.
It really reclaims your evening. It takes a chore that used to be this frustrating, exhausting hurdle between you and relaxation and turns it into a passive 5-minute afterthought.
You actually get to enjoy your dinner without the looming dread of the sink.
Exactly.
Which, brings me to a final thought I would love to leave everyone with today.
Oh, let's hear it.
We spend so much time researching and purchasing kitchen gadgets designed to save us cooking time. But how often do we calculate the hidden time tax of cleaning them?
Oh, that is so true.
Right. If the appliance saves you 20 minutes of cooking but requires 15 minutes of intense, frustrating scrubbing, the convenience is an illusion. What other modern conveniences in your life are quietly demanding more maintenance than they are worth simply because you haven't yet discovered the frictionless, effortless way to maintain them?
That is such a profound way to look at it. If we can transform a sticky nightmare drawer back into a miracle machine that effortlessly pumps out perfect Brussels sprouts, who knows what other daily frictions we can eliminate?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.